Hi folks, we're going to do a quick video looking at the example here that kind of runs through all three of the forms of a quadratic equation. So the first one is what we talked about with vertex form. So this -2 times x plus 1 all squared plus 8. So we want to be able to look at each piece of this, and the first one is our a value, and that's the number out front. That -2 tells us that it opens down because it's negative, and that it's stretched or taller because it's a number bigger than 1. That 2 value tells that it's bigger. So we're going to write out our step pattern 1, 3, 5, and we're going to multiply by -2 to get our new step pattern, and that will be -2, -6, -10. So that's the step pattern I'm going to use when it comes to it to graph this parabola. The other pieces of the equation that I need, this +1 is the left to right shift, the horizontal, and remember that this one's always the opposite sign. So this would move in a left direction because it's positive. So this goes left 1, and the last piece, that +8, that's the vertical or the up and down shift. And that one goes kind of the direction you would think. So this is a positive, so it's going to go up 8. So that would give me a vertex if I'm going left 1 and up 8. Left is into the -1s, so -1 and then up to +8. So I'm going to put this together now and sketch this graph. Just kind of highlighting my x and y axis so you guys can see where we're starting from. Make sure to put arrows on the end and label your x and y. I want to make sure I leave enough room to go up 8 there before I put my points. So the first step here is to start at the origin. I'm going to count over 1 to the left and then up 8. So I'm going to count over 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up and put a dot. Now that dot is my vertex. That's this -1, 8. Then we're going to look at the step pattern, which goes over 1, and normally it's down 1, but now I'm going down 2. So that's a -2 because of this -2. And that will be another point there. And I have to mirror that on the other side of the equation. The next step in the step pattern is a -6. So I'm going to go over 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's right there. So I put another point and then mirror that on the other side. The next one would be over 1 and down 10, but I don't have room. So that was my -6 step, that one there. And I can't go down 10, it would be past the end of my graph, so I can't fit it on this one. So I'll go back and I need to connect the dots with a curve, put arrows on the end, and label it with the equation. So y equals -2 x plus 1 squared plus 8. Okay, that's step A. And this handout is on Google Classroom. The next thing tells me to put this equation in standard form. And what can we see from standard form? So I'm going to write out the original equation. So -2 times x plus 1 all squared plus 8. Now standard form means FOIL it out, multiply out. So the first step to FOIL this out is to look at this squared and remember that that means write out the bracket twice. So that's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1 and then plus 8 still at the end. Now I'm going to take my other color and draw in my arrows to show how I'm foiling this out. Remember also that you're leaving that -2 out front to deal with later. So here we get x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1 and still a plus 8 at the end. And now we have some like terms in the middle. So I see 1x and 1x, that's 2 x's in that middle. So negative 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 1, and then plus 8 at the end. Now I can multiply in the negative 2. Remember BEDMAS, I'm not going to try and add the 8 until after I multiply that. And the negative 2 will multiply to each piece in the brackets. So that's y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x minus 2, and then plus 8. One more step here is that I have two just plain numbers, and those are like terms. Negative 2 plus 8 is positive 6. So negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. That's our standard form. And one really easy, nice thing we can see from standard form is the y-intercept. The number by itself at the end in standard form is the y-intercept. And we see that that's true there, that on this graph from the previous screen, the y-intercept is at a value of positive 6. So now the last piece says take that equation from standard form. So y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 and put it into factored form. So we're going to factor this. And the first step with factoring, if you have a number in front, you have to divide that out of all of the terms. Get it put out front so that it's not affecting your regular equation here. So we've got x squared, and then if we divide a negative 2 out of negative 4, so negative 4 divided by negative 2 is plus 2x, and negative 2, if we divide that out of positive 6, so positive 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And now we have to factor what's left in that bracket. So remember the rules for factoring here. You want to find two numbers that add up to the first number and multiply to the second number. So we want to find numbers that multiply to negative 3 and add to negative 2. So we don't have a ton of choices in what multiplies to 3 or negative 3. We know that it's going to have to be 1 and 3. And we also see that this is negative, so it's got one positive, one negative. Now we have to figure out what numbers would add up to 2. Where should the positive and where should the negative go? So you might try a positive 1 and a negative 3. But positive 1 plus negative 3, that's not 2, that's negative 2. So then you have to try switching those signs around. Negative 1, positive 3, that is 2. So that's how my signs are going to go. So that negative 2 stays out front. And then in the brackets, I get x minus 1 and x plus 3. Now from the factored form, we get the x-intercepts. And the x-intercepts, we have to switch the sign, just like we had to for the left-right shift of the vertex. So this means an x-intercept is 1, positive 1, and this one means an x-intercept is negative 3. And we see that that's true. Here's the x-intercept of positive 1, and here's an x-intercept of negative 3. So if you can do all of those things, that's a really good start to being sure that you're prepared for the test on Monday.